to Great Talk and Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the podcast where we review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics and DC Comics and much more. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back, everybody, as we continue on season 3 of The Mandalorian. This is an episode 2 review, and of course, this is a spoiler. So, if you have not seen this show, pause this, hit the thumbs up, because it will definitely help my YouTube channel grow to get more audience, more subscribers, and etc. So, go do that, then go watch it, then come back and check out my spoiler review for episode 2 of The Mandalorian Season 3. So, you've been warned. Let's get into it. Episode 2 continues on as we see Peli Motto tricking a roading by having the Java steal the parts that were in his ship or rider, and then scamming them by quote unquote fixing it by just putting all the parts back. And this is obviously on the celebration of Boonta Eve, which is just a holiday. And we also see pod racing. Now, if you remember the Star Wars prequels, you would see a young Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader, doing the pod racing race to win some cash, basically, in that prequel movie. And this continues on as a celebration. And then we see Peli was glad to see the Mandalorian and baby Grogu, and just hasn't seen him a long time. And then as we see they need like a motherboard chip or memory security, and it's a very rare thing, which you see the comment that Peli made saying, okay, Grandpa, like this is like some old stuff. Now I do remember I forget which Star Wars movie. I know it was in I want to say maybe the prequel or around Empire Strikes Back. I don't quite remember, but there was a robot called IG-88 that is just like IG-11. Now, one theory I kind of had, I just kind of want to share right now, was the idea of that if they got that one, they could put that in an IG-11, but it still wouldn't be possible to get his memory back, because if IG-11 gets activated again, obviously he's going for Grogu. So it'd be up there, it'd be interesting to see that. But if it's this memory security, which is like kind of like a motherboard chip, basically, it's this rare. Trying to find IG-88 is going to be very interesting, and that's one way, and they may not even do that, so who knows, right? But that's one theory I can see happening, which I think would be very cool. So you have that. Also, he needed a droid to check out the air, so Peli convinced the Mando to take R5D4, and this is a character who has been through a lot in all the Star Wars universe as far as shows and TV. I mean, RDD2 convinced him to blow out a circuit and sabotage himself in the New Hope movie, so RDD2 can hang out with like Luke Skywalker and all them in that adventure. So it's one of those things. R5D4 was very nervous, and it seems like Peli's like, come on, like you're built to do this, but this droid has lost confidence, has very low self-esteem, but the R5 did come through. Even though he's nervous, like I said, he came through, and he went and checked on it, but he did get attacked by Alamites, which they're kind of like cave. I don't know, but it just seems like whatever happened to this land where the Mandalorians once lived on and had a good life, it has gone to poor and destroyed and mutated like cavemen, but they call it online, and they seem to be like new characters. So it's one of those things, like they weren't like our Star Wars original, and I checked like the fandom wire and stuff, just kind of see in the Star Wars Wikipedia, and it seems like these are just new characters that have been added to the Star Wars universe. So that's pretty. There's nothing really much about them. So as Mando and Gargo walk in the Civic Center, the Mandalorian gets jumped by a creature who has a different type of mecha. It's like three. There's like a big one, a medium one, to a small size, and it kind of reminds me of General Grievous. If you remember I know these are not canon, but the Star Wars micro, like little mini series, um, General Grievous kind of had these similarities, and yes, he's a droid. He's a droid, and it's kind of like it's one of those things where Star Wars, like George Lucas, has never really came up with a clear answer, or he just never had time to do all that. So now it's up to like Disney and whoever who's producing the Star Wars comics and books. It's up to them to make up these new origin stories for these unanswered questions and characters and all that. So after Mando gets locked up in a cage that looks like one of those things you use to rotate your meat, a dead animal type like a pig, just roasting him around. It's got the Mando all like medical, you know, pinned up to like he's taking blood for whatever reason. They never really addressed it. That not that I remember. They never addressed why that droid was taking his blood. But in this episode, we see that you see how much the Mando trusts his Grogu, because he has Grogu fly back to Bo-Katan to get help. And this just shows that Grogu was paying attention, how to remember where you're at, how to read directions, and all that. And so you see Bo-Katan and Grogu kind of bond. And this is definitely one of the comedy and silliness of the Star Wars. Whether you read it or watch it or both, obviously. This is one of those things where you see, like, it's kind of funny. It's kind of like Grogu is like this. Obviously, the cute little creature that, you know, like, think of like, just think of like your pet, your favorite pet. Well, not everybody, all of my pets are my favorite, right? But I'm saying, think of your pet, and you say, "Oh my God, my dog's so cute," or "My cat's so cute." It's one of those little comedy things that kind of make it fun of in a way, because you see Bo-Katan, she's trying to be tough, and you know she's this badass woman, which she is. Let's just be clear, but then she shows a softer side because she sees Grogu, you know, like a pet in a way, and it's kind of funny. And she's telling Grogu and explaining like the history of the Mandalorian, and you know she's watching his back, and you know she's staying close by him, and it's just really one of those little cute things, and it's obviously supposed to be a little funny about it. Because again, that's just Star Wars does have that comedy humor that exists, so it's just something people gotta get used to, right? But I really did like that dynamic duel between the two of them, because uh, she was kind of like being a mother, or maybe like a big sister in a way, but not too much, just a little glimpse of it. But you know, as they were going back in the caves, you see those Alamites, just they came back, and she saw them sneaking around and shot them down. And then when we get to there, we see Bo-Katan just saves the Mandalorian. She was such a badass. Now, I said on the episode 1 review, where I said I felt like she was plotting and that she was going to turn on them, that I didn't think that she was, you know, has truly given up, or, you know, she seems like kind of bitter about it, but no, she's really giving up, and but you see her wield that dark saber, and she was such a badass in that, and it just shows that yeah, she just needs to get motivated to challenge the Mando to get that dark saber, because in this, to me, maybe she's the one that needs to wield that dark saber the whole time, and the Mando is just wrong, but he had his reasons to get it, because maybe uh, this was meant for baby Grogu, which I think it could be, because if you think about it, like I get it. Season three's timeline, I just haven't figured it out, and obviously I have looked all over the internet. Has anybody figured out? And I see a couple videos, but I'm just not convinced that that's the actual timeline, because I'm just basing off the episode one and this episode two. So I'm really not sure so far, but who said they both couldn't weld it? Maybe she'll be like the one. But again, she did save their life, and then she led them to the place where the living waters of it, where it's basically kind of like being baptized. He's baptizing himself, and then he drops straight down because this legendary Mythosaurus has snatched him up. Now, a thing I really want to point out what I like about this is, one, the logic to the jetpack and her carrying a knocked out, unconscious Mando is crazy. Dinjin, and it's like what, but it's like unlogic to me, because that's dead weight. He's knocked out, but I guess I can forgive and just move on from that one. But I like how she gasped, like, like what? Like she saw it, so it kind of revised her faith in the Mandalorian way. Like this is the way, and because these are creatures that I think her father, because her father was like the OG of one of the OGs of the Mandalorians, like the beginnings of it, and he may have tamed one of those Mythosaurus creatures and rode it like a horse or a pet type thing. Like I don't know, but it just seems like it brought her faith back to it, and I think that's really cool. But that's where the show's left off at, ended, was just her saving them. But again, this was okay. It was kind of slow paced, but it did have a lot of action to it, and this unveiled the like what is really going on in the Mandalorian system. Like something's really off, and it has a really mystery, and they try to do that horror theme to it with this episode, which I really like, because it was like the jump scare, but you have to see they did it through the eyes of baby Grogu. Like remember when he had to go back to get to the ship to see Bo-Katan, and all those like reptile creatures start attacking him. So if you go through the Mandalorian's eyes, yeah, they're not scary. He can just shoot them with his gun or laser. But Grogu, he's small, so this really scared him. So it's one of those jump scares. It's more for Grogu's version of it through his eyes. But definitely liked this episode. It was really fun, very eye-opening, knowledgeable, and kind of see where everything's kind of going with this. And it's got me very curious, like so of where this is gonna go. So let's get into the topics I kind of want to bring up. So, Bo-Katan. So let's talk about her. So, do I think she deserves the dark saber after this episode too? I would say yeah, because she welded like when Din Djarin, he was kind of like struggling, and I like that too. I just want to point that I like that. It just shows you that not everybody can weld any type of lightsaber, dark, green, purple, red, don't matter. Like you ain't the one, you ain't the one. And the Mando just really ain't the one. But maybe this is a step stuff for Bo-Katan to gain her faith, and maybe she should be the new leader. But because right now she's a non-believer, right? And I thought that was just like her playing possum, but after seeing her with Grogu, like she actually cares. She even told Grogu there was a time the Mandalorians and the Jedi's were on the same side. So there is a big part of history of where this was going, and it has all. So it seemed like not just the Jedi way has fallen, but the Mandalorian way has fallen as well. And so there is a lot of stuff going on here, and I think this season is also watching Bo-Katan. I think she's gonna build up to challenge him because I think she could be the leader for the moment. Because I don't think this is the Mandalorians. I don't think it's his way. I don't think it's his final destination to be the leader. I think what he's got with Grogu is going to be his main story, and I think it's just the chapter for Bo-Katan to see her grow and rise to the occasion to when needed. Hopefully, episode 3 can be totally different, but I really like where Bo-Katan is going with this, and I hope good things. And like the next topic is the Mythosaurus. So Din Gene is knocked out, so the Mando is knocked out. He's just he didn't see it, but Bo-Katan, like I said, like this is kind of like the rebirth of, like teasing the rebirth of the Mandalorian system, how it was. Like everybody, like the Mando said, they're all scattered around like stars in the galaxy, like. And maybe Bo-Katan again. I think she's the one. She's the one Mandalorian to do it because again, it seemed like her dad was the one that brought one of the OGs who brought glory to the Mandalorian like lifestyle. So it's very interesting because that is that the Mythosaurus is a sacred beast to the Mandalorian way of life. So it's a very important thing to see that, and I definitely cannot wait. So I think like we're gonna see more of these. Like I think hopefully maybe this season I think that we'll see Bo-Katan tame that Mythosaurus. I think that was their first time looking at each other in a way. This is gonna be her pet. Like this, not her pet, but well, yeah, I guess. And I think she'll be the one. I think, like I said, I think the Mando. I think he is just. I think, like I said, I think he's conflicted between really trying to live the Mando way and really just giving up the Mando way, the Mandalorian way, basically. Just because of over Grogu, he's very protective of Grogu, and I think he just teaching him, but I could be wrong, But again, I think as far as this episode, it was really good. I think the plot, it was it's hard to. I get when people say like episode 2 and episode 1 were really slow, but this is typical Star Wars. Like it's more not really. It's really about the action, of course, but it's more of like explaining everything to build up to see why you see these big battle scenes, whether it's they're shooting each other in outer space, shooting with laser guns or lightsabers. It's just how the format works of Star Wars. They like to dialogue everything because there is a lot going on detailed on this, and this I'm telling you with the Disney Plus series, I give kudos because they do make sure they go in complete details with a lot of Star Wars information that you may have to really read and do a lot of reading in your comic books of the Star Wars, which brings up the next question. If the Mandalorian, if he's trying to redeem himself, question is, does he train Grogu to become a Mandalorian? And does the Mandalorian, or does Grogu wear the Mandalorian helmet? Like, it's very interesting to see if Disney and Star Wars, George Lucas company, to do that, because if you look at the toys and like the pop vinyls and anything Grogu, you see his face, and to have him have without the face, it's gonna be with the helmet on, be very interesting. So, do I think Grogu will become? I would say no. I think just because I think the idea is, I think they would go the Jedi way with Grogu. I think he's gonna be a Jedi. I don't think, but I think he would be one of the Jedi's who appreciates the Mandalorians, and I think that in future battles, if Grogu is an adult and still alive, exists, which I'm pretty sure that he would stand up for the Mandalorians, like vouch for them in many ways. So that's the one thing I can see, but I don't think he'll become a Mandalorian. I think the idea of him becoming a new Jedi is the actual main plot, I think. So that's where I'm going to go with that. But again, this episode is really good, really, really fun to watch. And I really like, I really like the Bo-Katan scenes. I really think watching her grow and seeing her maybe become the new leader. I also think that the armor, I think she's up to no good, really. Um, who? Let's, because it's hard to explain, but I'll try to explain. I think I wouldn't say she's the evil villain. I'm not gonna say that, but I think that uh, because when I watch Star Wars, I think that sometimes life is the Force, and sometimes life forces them to make the decisions of taking off that helmet, not by choice, but just in the heat of the moment. I think okay, so the whole problem is the Mando having redemption, watching him say, look, he was about to die. Like, if he didn't get this healed up, he would have died. So he had to take the helmet off. And IG-11 is a droid. He's not a. Is he considered a living thing? Probably not. He's not human. And he's apparently he can't remember right now. But how much do you want him to remember? You know, to prove that, even though the Mando had to take his helmet off, he never took the helmet off because, well, I mean, yeah, he did in a way, but I'm just saying, like, I think the idea of this is if you're put in a situation, but you have a chance to live, wouldn't you want to take the helmet off, right? And I think when the armor, when she gets in a situation, something like that, where life puts her in a situation where she may take the mask off, it's kind of like, it's like, I think that's what life is, because life is the Force. So I think it forces it. So that's what I think. So I think she's up to no good. What I mean by, like, I think she's so committed to the Mandalorian that it's become her selfish ways. And so this is what I think. But again, I could be wrong, but I really think that when she takes off her helmet, she steps down. And now they can rebirth the Mandalorian like lifestyle in a way. That's what I'm thinking too. So that's where my opinion, my theories about that, but that's what I got out of it, out of episode 2. I know, right? Crazy. But Thank you so much for listening to my review. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment Official Channel. Please subscribe. Hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you and peace